Greetings and salutations to you all, ladies and gentlemen. Kluger finally welcomes you back to another build progress update video. Just up front, for anyone who's wondering, I've been away for a little while. I do apologize. It was not entirely of my own doing, or of my own choice, rather. I did have to go away for a little bit of a employment trip, I suppose, for lack of a better term. I did a vlog recently, or a couple of vlogs, and you can check those out. I was overseas for a week, so I'm a little bit behind on my videos. This is not going to be the most in-depth or thrilling of said videos, but I'm doing my best to get back into it and get the ball rolling once again. As you can see, I am in very early elite with this build I've been working on the side, just sneakily, away from prying eyes and away from the camera thing video place. This is, I will call the dual-wielding sorceress, or maybe the gun-slinging sorceress. I haven't got a name for it yet. Or sorcerer, depending on your selected gender. A reasonably straightforward build. And it's a build I've had a lot of fun with, insofar as that it's a lot less complicated than the last couple of builds I've been doing. Both the the Bleeding Conjurer and the Chthonic Necromancer that I've been working on are, in comparison, much more complicated than this build. And so this is a really refreshing change of pace, as in it's a lot more just click and shoot, which I'm really enjoying, sort of as an off-side project thing, and it's, you know, it's been working out really, really well. I'm digging into the archives of my memory right now, and maybe your memories too, but it was a while back I did a video. It was basically this build, or it was this character, but it was under the guise of the, like, Grenadier Sorceress build, where I was trying to frame it around Grenado and Canister Bomb as the main attacks, and basically only attack with those skills. That was the focus of the build, and it was working out okay at the time, but I was finding it wasn't scaling the best, nor was I particularly enjoying that particular playstyle. I just said particularly twice, and I apologize. So, away from the camera, I did work on it just when I felt like playing something different. And rehashed it and reimagined it as this. And I've been playing it quite a bit lately, and really, really enjoying it. As you can obviously see, we're into early elite, and the DPS is pretty freaking solid on this thing, while still remaining reasonably survivable. I mean, obviously for a dual-wielding build, survivability is a little more difficult to achieve. I've kind of been of the focus more towards like a great defense comes from a good offense, or whatever that stupid sports saying is. You know that one. Ooh, that's a lot of fire damage. Francis Gun of Alacrity is kind of tempting. Instead of the Mediator. 18% attack speed. Holy crap. Whoa. But I lose that Magma Orb skill. Anyway, I'll figure that off camera. So, let's talk a little bit about the build in terms of how it is constructed. It's actually more of an elemental damage dealing build rather than the physical one. You can do from the Demolitionist tree using Fire Strike, because it does deal physical damage. I have, because it's a sorceress, tried to do predominantly fire damage, with other bits and pieces thrown in. So I'll stop now, and let's take a look at the skills. But why am I zooming in? Anyway, here's Demolitionist, +1 to all skills from an item, I think. But anyway, I've maxed out the tree. Of course, the predominant focus is Fire Strike. Maxing out Fire Strike itself, I will probably max Explosive Strike, and probably max Brimstone as well. Just uber DPS, uber crowd control. It's all really, really tasty, and it's, yeah, obviously required for this build. I think I've got 4 points so far in Flame Touch by default. I'll probably get that to a decent level, mostly for it's got flat fire damage, but also offensive ability stuck to it, which is really, really nice. 1 point in Temper so far. We'll possibly crank it up, but, you know, I'm not really sure. As needed. Blast Shield I'll probably also put more points into, because it helps with our survivability. Quite a nice skill as you pump decent amounts of points into it. I've actually only got 1 point in Canister Bomb, I am sure. I'm only using that to get the Concussive Bomb modifier, which is 100% chance to stun targets for 3 to 4 seconds, which is just really nice crowd control. 1 point in each of Flashbang and Searing Light for the debuff. I think I've got 6 points in Vindictive Flame right now. We'll probably get that to at least, you know, 8 points. Probably even maxing it out if I can. The total speed and the health regeneration, both really nice again for survivability. And I think it gives, does it give defensive ability these days? I don't think it does anymore. It used to. Anyway, it's nice. And 1 point in Ulzawin's Wrath just for a little bit of that extra AoE and potential chance for crowd control there. Over to Arcanist. 1 point in Iskandra's Elemental Exchange, which I'm probably mostly just going to use to get to Elemental Balance for the crit damage. The Elemental damage is kind of cool. I might put more points into that, but it's not compulsory. Some of this build is still up in the air, as you can plainly tell. I'm still figuring it as I go. I have 5 points in Maven's Sphere. Again, we'll crank more points into that to help us not die. Conversion, just the 1 point in it for now. I probably won't put more in it. Inner Focus, 6 out of 12. We'll probably max that out because offensive ability is delicious. 1 point in Arcane Will, just for that, it's a bit of a 1 point wonder when it just comes to, a bit of extra damage when your health is dropping. I don't know how it scales. I'll have to look into that, but I'll probably put a point into Mental Alacrity, or points into Mental Alacrity for the minus skill energy cost. I'm assuming as we level up more and get more points into the Fire Strike line, our energy cost will be pretty high, so I need to keep an eye on that. But I possibly won't go any higher up the tree than this, because there's not really a need to. I could get like Reckless Power, it seems like a cool thing, but that takes us down the path of ether damage, which we're not doing at all. So it's probably not really worth it. The only reason I'd put more points into here is for the base mastery stats, but if it can survive without that, I will avoid it. As for devotion, I have Chariot of the Dead, which I got when it used to be a lot better, like pre-full release. It's still got some nice stuff in here. Offensive ability, Wayward Soul's an okay skill. It activates when you get hit by a critical. And you don't want to be getting hit by criticals, so it's kind of, yeah. I might buy out of it. I'm not really sure at this stage. I just haven't really messed with it too much. I've got points in Hawk down here, and then Empty Throne for the resistances on it. I've then maxed out Rowan's Crown, which gives us a bunch of elemental damage, which of course helps with our fire damage. Gives us elemental resistances, helps with a whole bunch of stuff. And then its skill Elemental Storm, which I've got tied to Fire Strike, is really quite nice. Does different types of elemental damages, Burn, Frostburn, and Electrocute. Burn, of course, we're doing a decent amount of. And then it's also got this 16 reduced targets elemental resistances for 2 seconds, which is going to continue scaling up as this skill levels up, which is really, really, really helpful for this build. 25% chance on attack with a 1.5 second skill recharge is a lot. And when that maxes out, it's really going to help with the fire damage that we're dealing. I think that's all I've got right now in terms of devotions. Yeah, we're only at 26 out of 50. So I'm not really sure where I'm going to go with it. Oh no, I'm working on Hydra. Hydra gives us lots of elemental and I think specific fire damage, does it? I don't remember. But it gives us a bunch of offensive ability and other cool stuff, so that's really nice. And it might help us get to Ulzawin's Torch. I really want to get Ulzawin's Torch. It'll be really cool for the build. Bunch of fire damage, crit damage. It's delicious. We should really get it. And Meteor Shower is going to be pretty wild. So I will definitely get onto that. What do I need from the 8 and 15? I'm getting there. I'll have to work my way. Maybe that's where I'll get rid of Chariot of the Dead. Maybe I'll go into... I don't know what I'll go into. I have to think about that. But I won't bore you with that on camera. We'll just mostly look at the gear. The tributes, mostly physique. A little bit of spirit and some cunning when I was doing the build differently. Hopefully I can get away with that as is. Let's see. I won't do a full thing. I don't need to talk about this too much. But gear of note. Gunslinger's Talisman is really cool and helping me dual wield, and I'll upgrade that to whatever the other ones are. I can't remember their names right now, but there's a transcendent version of this item which also allows us to dual wield. Of course we need something to let us dual wield. I need a better belt than that. And the guns I'm using are awesome. Devil Tongue is badass. A bunch of burn damage, fire damage, offensive ability, +1 to all skills and Demolitionist. It's got +3 to Slayer's Witchfire, which obviously we're not doing, but it doesn't excuse... It doesn't mean we don't use this gun. It's still really cool. And the granted skill, Devil's Spread, is pretty gnarly. It does main hand damage, it does fire and chaos damage, attack damage converted to health. It's really cool. And I've got Silver Core Bolts on that because it does reduce target's defensive ability, which will help us with doing lots of gnarly things. And then the Mediator, which I've been using just recently as well, is just fire and burn damage and all that good stuff. But I might try this Francis Gun of Alacrity out because it's got a crap load of DPS and attack speed on it, which is really helpful for the build. So we'll definitely look into playing around with that. But I don't want to. I need to craft another Flint Devil Touched ammo. Do I even have the recipe for that? I don't remember. I don't want to get rid of this gun. Anyway, so that's probably about it, ladies and gents. I'll do a full build guide on this when I progress it a little more. That's why I haven't gone into the full specific details of it. But yeah, it's a fairly straightforward build in of itself. You just fire your guns a lot and watch things die. You of course throw out your flashbangs to debuff, and if it's a larger mob of enemies is normally when I'll let swing with the concussive bomb / canister bomb, whatever you want to call it. Really good crowd control, and as you can see, stuff just melts. It kills stuff really quickly, and as I get more points into Maven's Sphere of Protection, that'll make us more tanky, and that's sort of the upshot of doing a sorceress build as opposed to like a commando build. There are better defensive options. Well, that's not really true. Soldier does have defensive options as well, but I don't know. This just feels a little tankier, I suppose. Just a bit more damage absorption and so forth. So there you go, guys. It's working out really, really well. Any thoughts, suggestions, comments, leave them down below. Otherwise, just leave the old thumbs up. That would be fantastic. And I hope to see you again in another video. So, without further ado, my name is Kluger, and you have a great day.